Leaving your country is like learning a new language. At first, you translate everything in your head. Then one day you catch yourself thinking directly in that foreign language. But what happens when that language is an entire culture, an entire way of seeing the world? Today, I'm joined by Polina, an American lawyer who made the choice to leave everything behind to settle here in France. From working at TikTok and some other tech companies to creating her own legal consulting firm in Paris. Welcome to Casque. I'm Ali. And today we're going to talk about so many interesting subjects like Polina's life at first, cultural differences between US and European cultures from the personal aspect and also from the professional aspect, law, and so on. You might be the first episode of 2026, so thank you for that. And the first in English at all, so it will be a real challenge for me. But Polina, thank you for being here. And for our listener who don't know you yet, can you just introduce yourself briefly?
Sure. Well, thank you so much for having me here. I'm really excited to share a little bit. I've always wanted to help other expats through the struggle. So I guess this is maybe one small step towards that. So as Ali said, I am an attorney from the US. I was originally born in Bulgaria. So I came, I'm not here. I came to the US at the age of 6. And it was kind of by sheer coincidence. My mother ended up winning the first lottery for green cards from Bulgaria at the time. So this was 1995. We moved to Michigan. My parents, rebuilt their life there at the age of 50. And this is where I this is where I, established the next 20-something years of my life. I did all of my schooling there. Just lived my life as an American.
Okay.
And
very interesting.
After Michigan, I ended up in Chicago, which was always kind of my dream. I was born in a big city in Bulgaria, so I was always drawn to bigger cities.
In which city?
In Plovdiv, I was born.
Okay.
And then, I was drawn to Chicago because it kind of resembled, where I came from in a sense. Not architecture, of course, but the feeling of the big city.
Yeah.
And then from Chicago, I ended up here in Paris. So.
Okay, very interesting. So you were born in Bulgaria?
Correct.
You were a lawyer in the US, then in France, not in the French universe at all, but in France for international customers. You worked for TikTok, Northern Trust.
Correct.
We can dig deeper in that after that. And now your own firm. That's an impressive journey. And congratulations for that.
Thank you.
But what interests me today is less than the CV, less the CV than the inner journey. So let's go back to the very beginning, the triggered moment. What was your life like in the US before deciding to leave? Because you say to me that it wasn't a choice. Describe a typical day of US life, for example, and after we can talk about the departure.
Sure. So I think it varies greatly where you live in the US. We'll start there. Michigan is very suburban, right?
Okay.
Of course, we have Detroit, where I ended up going to law school, but day to day, there isn't much except for school and work. So it's not the same cultural richness. It doesn't have the same experience as bigger, like Chicago, for example, did have a different flow of life daily, but Michigan, we can basically chalk it up to it was home, school, or home, work, and then back home.
Okay.
There isn't
boring
that,
life.
Yes, it's there's no social element to it. You don't really know your neighbors. It's just very like what you see on TV, the typical suburban lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
You do your brunch and shopping on the weekends. That's the highlight of your week. And you see your friends maybe a couple of hours on the weekends. But more or less, it's a very self-isolating Atmosphere. That's being very, looking at it from an outsider perspective now, I can see that. Just
so it really depends of the state.
Correct.
Okay. And especially in Michigan, it was
very just dull. I mean, you're existing, but you're not, of course, there's events like legal events, there's fundraising events, there's things that you can be a part of, which I was. But even that, it's not in the culture. It's not in the American culture.
Okay.
And then I moved to Chicago, and there I found more of an international group of friends, and it's a more international circle. It's a different atmosphere. It's a big city. They had art exhibits, opera. It was a richer life full of cultural activities.
Okay.
And then you add, obviously, the amazing food scene, the Michelin restaurants. So I came to life a little bit more in Chicago. But still, overall, it was very much, your focus is work, right? This is, first and foremost, you live to work, quite literally. So you're not focused on building really a social circle.
I know. And I understood that because for our listener who don't know but I lived 3 months for my internship this summer in Ontario, near to Toronto. 1 hour from Toronto, but it was for Canadian people the same culture than the US.
Yes.
And I've seen this this kind of selfness, it was very difficult to create a kind of social circle. Because in Paris, for example, we can talk about Paris right now. You just down and you can, for example, have a beer, have a glasses, have a coffee, and meet people.
Correct.
It's easy to move from city. For example, you can just take a train and go to Lyon in the weekend. It's not the same thing in Canada and in US because it's a huge country. So, for example, when I decided to meet a friend in Montreal, I had to just take a car and drive from maybe between 6 and 8 hours.
Oh yeah,
it's
totally normal.
Normal, exactly. It's normal. So that's why you take planes. Usually,
yes.
It's not very good for the planet, but it's the geography. So for this US life, did you feel like something was missing, or it was normal for you?
To be honest,
because you didn't live so many time in Bulgaria.
No, I only lived until the age of 6. So
okay.
I don't remember much.
Okay.
But to your question, was something missing? I think when you're in the rat race, as they call it in the US.
The rat race, okay.
You don't notice because you have a very structured plan. From high school, you have to compete to get into the best university. You get in. Then after that, you do your bachelor's. And then, you need to specialize. It's like you don't waste years in between, right? You go next. You graduate. You then start your first job. You're in the corporate world.
Exactly.
I mean, typically, right?
Yeah.
And from there, you're paid well, you're comfortable. So you just imagine, okay, I've succeeded, right? Like in your head, especially as a foreigner going into the US, this is an American dream. You have your salary, you're comfortable, you feel safe, you feel I've achieved everything I need to achieve. After that, what do? Well, but at that point, you already have a car. Next, a home, right? So then, okay, now I'm going to work, save everything, forget travel, forget all these experiences because that's not the goal, right? Your goal is to have your home and to be comfortable. And that's it, comfort. And this actually is...
Yeah, and repeat during the rest of your life.
Exactly.
So let's explain what you decided to move in France. Why France, especially? It was not a choice, okay? But I mean, for an American lawyer, London might have seemed more logical.
Sure.
If you want to move in Europe, you can just say, okay, I moved in London, and if I have some family in Paris, but a boyfriend for you.
Yes.
What drew you to Paris?
Ironically enough, ever since I was a teenager, I started to watch like French films.
Okay.
I really
like what, for example?
Priceless was my favorite.
Okay.
The Valet. Audrey Tautou, I loved. Gad.
Gad and Molly?
Yes.
Okay.
Those two are my favorite. Cool. I didn't understand a word.
Okay.
But I was just drawn to it. Always loved fashion. Always.
Okay. Cool.
I have a dog named Chanel, for example.
Oh, really?
So I was always just, there was something about the French culture.
Mm-hmm.
Before even knowing it, which is funny, but this kind of stuck in my head. And then I was on vacation on my 30th birthday with my whole family.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, I see this tall, handsome guy. And it was kind of love at first sight.
Okay.
And he didn't talk to me the first few days on vacation. He just kind of passed by. We looked at each other. I saw he was there with his family. And then my mother stops him one day. She's the culprit in this. And she goes, oh, what time is it? And I'm looking at my phone. I'm like, Mom, you could have asked anything else, right? Anyway, long story short, this is how it began. So a couple days after leaving the vacation, I get a call that the guy I met there wants to come to Chicago to see me.
Okay.
Very just, nothing you would really ever imagine. And where is he coming from? He's coming from Paris.
Oh my God.
Yes. Turns out he's French. I heard the accent. I thought Montreal. Nope. No. Definitely Paris, France. And at that point, you're like this, because we were in Dominican Republic. It's such an American, Canadian destination, right?
Yeah.
To meet somebody from Europe is like very bizarre, right?
Unusual. Yeah.
Unusual. So this is kind of how it started. So he's now my ex-husband, but he started coming once a month to Chicago for 3 months. And then after 3 months, he's like, come to see Paris. Since it's been my dream, I said, well, why not?
Why not? Okay.
I come to Paris. I hated it.
Really?
I really hated it.
Why?
I cried.
Oh my God.
I was dramatic. It was not what I had imagined all those 15, 20 years in my mind. It didn't match up.
Okay. And why? Because of people? Because of buildings? Because of what?
The buildings, everything seemed very beige. There was graffiti everywhere.
Exactly, yeah.
It wasn't this idealistic fairy tale place that I had, really constructed. And I remember I saw the Eiffel Tower the first time and I was like, this is what I've been idolizing this whole time. I was like, what is this pile of metal? I'm like, they couldn't have made it more ugly. It was horrible.
Exactly.
But so I'm getting deeper into it now. But yeah, this is, I met my then he ended up proposing actually on this trip.
Okay.
And a month and a half later, it was like, okay, either you continue in this relationship, but I was like head over heels in love. So for me, that was the only option, right?
Okay.
So it wasn't like, where would you like to live? No, it was yes or no on me. If it's yes, it's France.
In French, we say love makes you blind.
Oh,
it's true, no?
1,000% true.
Yeah. So I imagine your circle in America your father, your family, your mother, etc. Do you have any brother and sister?
I have an older brother, yes.
Oh, okay. How did your family, your friends receive this decision to move in Paris definitely?
Well, my mother took the approach of, you're 30 years old. I don't want to tell you what to do.
Exactly, yeah.
But she said, you know what? Go for a year, try it, see what happens. If not, you can always come back.
Okay.
My friends were a little bit more skeptical. They're like, oh, this guy's love bombing you, right? I was immediately the very... friends can be more honest, I think, in a sense. And they're like, red flags, red flags. I'm like, but no, I have the ring. Everything's beautiful. He has a gorgeous home. We're just going to go for it.
Okay.
So in a month, I quit my job, sold everything, packed up the rest of what I was taking. And at the 5th month of knowing my ex-husband, I was installed in Louvain in 30 minutes outside of Paris, and without speaking French, without a job, without anything.
Wow. We can talk about that. It is very difficult to don't have the French language in his pocket to live in Paris.
It's difficult. It's shocking. It's depressing.
Oh, really?
It hit me hard. I think I imagine Paris being very international as it is.
Yes.
But
it depends of the neighborhood you have.
Exactly. It depends neighborhood. It depends also where exactly. So I was in the suburbs of Paris.
Mm-hmm.
And it was older crowd. It was very established, older generation French.
Mm-hmm.
I think the average age is, I'm not even joking, maybe in the 70s.
Yeah.
So they maybe knew some English, but they just didn't want to make the effort.
Okay.
So it was a nightmare. I mean, it was like sheer depression. Like the first week, my ex said, here's the car keys, here's a credit card, enjoy your life. And I was like, okay, sounds like a dream, but what do you mean enjoy my life? I don't know how to drive here. I mean, Arc de Triomphe, enough said, huh? You don't know what you're doing. You don't know which way you're going. I can't read the signs. I got lost on the freeway. The guy had to chase me down in his car to try and tell me where to turn. Oh, it was there were so many literally just lost in translation, and you don't know what's up. You don't know what's down. You're so frustrated at the end of the day. You can't even go to the boulangerie, to the bakery.
Yeah.
You can't order a bread. Even you're pointing I want a croissant.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, it's the accent.
Say the word.
Yeah, they're like, what the heck? And even at some point, they're yelling at you. And even one time behind me, the woman felt bad for me. She's like, elle voudrait un croissant. And I was like, but didn't I say the same thing? So it was I think the language barrier, I didn't anticipate it, and I wasn't prepared. And it was the first 6 months, really pure depression.
So it's been 2 years you are here?
6.5.
6.5, yeah, okay. I forgot. Have you ever tried to work hard on French language, or did you give up?
So the first 3 months, I was quite stubborn in my American ways, and I said, "There's no need for me to learn. I'm American. I speak the the world language. That's enough."
You speak Spanish?
No, not so. Yeah, basically. But no, I actually ended up taking some French courses, and then a couple months into that, COVID hit.
Okay.
And it was just a bad time because France was really on lockdown for the next, 2.5 years?
Exactly, yeah.
Which completely undercut, the learning of the French and being exposed.
So you lived the lockdown in Paris?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, without your ex-boyfriend? Or with him?
No, with him. We were in the house in Vézenay. I became a farmer. I became an artist.
Oh, really? Okay, cool. That's cool. So discover another way of living, because Paris, even for the French citizen, it's a kind of nightmare.
Yeah.
for my parents, for example. They didn't understand why I choose to move to Paris. But I think when you are a young guy, it's very beneficial for you. But I really understand what you say. But let's go a bit forward. Between the moment you made the decision and the moment you actually set your suitcase in the plane to move in Paris, what was the mix of emotions?
Terrified, but I kept trying to calm myself into thinking this is temporary. So I literally told everybody around me, I'll be back in a year.
Okay.
Like, as much as I don't know, I wasn't envisioning. I knew I wanted to be married, right? I mean, that's why I got engaged. But I think for me, it was very much, can you do this personally? And will you feel okay there? Because I had nobody. I didn't know. I didn't have a single friend, a single family member. I didn't know anybody. And at that point, you realize you just quit your job, which is your lifeline, which no American in their right mind, no person in their right mind would ever do.
It's not like Emily in Paris.
No. Oh my gosh.
Have you ever seen this series?
Of course. Of course.
Yes.
No, it's not that.
I understand. Okay. Okay. Let's move to the transformation that you faced here, because it's one thing to dream about croissant and the Eiffel Tower, but the reality of settling in a new country is another story. What you say? Let's talk about this transformation. Let's be honest. The first weeks, the first months in France, how did it really go? With this love environment, you know,
Sure.
it was catastrophic, but you have, I think, many good points to live in Paris.
Yes. I mean, initially, really, probably the first month or two.
Okay.
I did get, it was exactly like mid-July into August. So it was vacation here.
Nobody in the street.
Oh my God, Vézelay, it was a ghost town. I mean, I was like, where? Coming from Chicago, I lived right downtown Chicago. And you go from, you know, just constantly people everywhere to ghost town. I mean, you hear birds. I heard birds. I was like shocked that I can hear birds outside the window in the garden.
Because it's not
hilarious.
the case even on the campaign, US campaign. You don't have any birds or animals.
Yes, but that's like very deep woods, suburbs. Even in the suburbs, they're large, populated areas. Like here, it's really countryside. It's peaceful. It's green. It's gorgeous, right? It's gorgeous here, and I loved it. I because I came at a time of vacation. I ended up going to Loire Valley. I saw castles. I did wine tastings. I mean, it was the experience of, oh, cool, I'm on vacation, which is what I think initially I put in my mind. That was awesome. I mean, the food is amazing. The wine is amazing. Mm-hmm. There's art. There's architecture. There's so much beauty. It's natural beauty.
So you recognize that the food is better in France?
It took me a while.
Yeah, okay.
But it's you really have to give yourself time to adjust. Your palate really changes a lot. And in the beginning, I only liked Michelin star restaurants here. Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay.
So that I liked. Everything else was like, I'm not touching that.
Okay.
But yeah, after settling down, it took a few years to be honest, but after that initial, conversion and settling in, then now I can't even look at the American food. So it's funny how, in the beginning, you just see things so differently. But no, really, the first experience was good. And then I think what ruined it for me, being honest, was because the relationship took like a nosedive almost immediately.
Okay.
So I think I felt very isolated. I was alone. I was in somebody else's, it was a very large estate. So I'm by myself in this huge home, huge garden. And it sounds magical, but it's not, because you're there without anybody but the birds.
So you were trapped in France?
Yeah, in a
Why
sense.
did you just come back in Chicago after
I couldn't admit defeat.
You couldn't, yeah.
In my head, I said, no, you're a fighter. You're going to continue. You chose this. There's no way back. I said, there's only forward. It doesn't matter what it is. You're going to keep pushing until it makes sense, until you figure it out.
Awesome. So what do you do for a living right now?
So I actually, all shock, I started my own consulting company.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Paris Lease Check.
Okay.
So basically, I help expats with relocation.
Mm-hmm.
And I use my legal background.
Okay.
And I do this by basically making sure they're not getting scammed, checking, where they're finding the apartments, going with them for visits, asking the right questions, translating and explaining their lease to them.
Okay.
Lease agreements here in France are totally different, very different laws. Real estate laws completely different than in the US. So it's something that I wish I would have had, because after the divorce, it was a very, sobering realization that, you are kind of trapped, and then also now, you've decided to move away from this, and now go and do it on your own, but you don't know how, you don't know where to start, right? And I said, I'm passionate about helping people. And at the same time, I want to use my legalese. I want to use, the skills that I have. So I said, why not finally do something that you want to do?
Mm-hmm.
And I was in corporate here. I was in TikTok. I was in Voodoo. I was in House Council. And then came a moment where it wasn't fulfilling. And I think the divorce happened. I left TikTok. I moved to the other side of Paris. Everything kind of came down literally at the exact same time. And it was a moment of, you can reinvent yourself. You can create the life that you actually want. You are in this foreign country, but at this point, I've been here 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And now's a great opportunity to find who you are here.
Exactly. Very interesting. I have so many questions that appear in my mind right now, but you mentioned you work for TikTok,
Yeah,
and some other US companies. TikTok is not, but I have a question. In the professional world, legal and tech, where you operated, how did this cultural differences and also system differences manifest concretely? I mean, many people say, okay, in Europe, the legal was here very complex, and there are so many steps, for example, to achieve a task. It's not the case in US. You can, I mean, for my small knowledge about that, it's easier in US than in Europe for the legal aspect and for the cultural aspect also. What do you think about that?
So, if I'm not sure I understand that view. Can you rephrase
I mean, in the professional world, legal and tech where you operated, how did these cultural differences manifest concretely? This is the first question, and the second question is more about the system, the legal system
Sure.
that you have to understand.
So, well, the legal system, between common law and civil law, it's completely different. One is judge-based laws, the other is code-based laws. So, I mean, looking at it from that perspective, there's much more flexibility in the U.S. legal system.
Okay.
I don't practice in court, so I've never done personal injury or family court, anything like this. I've always stayed in-house.
You can do the French bar if you want.
Oh, it's all in French. Plus relearning the entire new system. I think maybe one day, if I'm very bored and I want a new challenge, which I probably will. But no, I mean, obviously the differences in the legal sphere itself, it's just concretely different. But there are similarities in terms of contracts. So I think this is why I stuck to in-house counsel, trying to find a way to continue practicing. And this is what it is. And it actually, I got lucky on this portion because you don't need a bar exam to practice in-house counsel.
Okay.
So this is how I found the loophole in a sense. And it fit me because I was in-house at Northern Trust in Chicago. And I'm trying to say it's similar, but in a sense, it's also extremely different because the way in-house counsel is viewed, I'm not sure if it depends on being a tech company. I don't know if there's just nuances in the subject field. But what I did notice is in the US, things are very structured. Things are very much, they need to pass through legal. Legal is a very important step. And, shareholders are HR, like nobody is, bringing you a contract like, oh, don't worry, I wrote it, I did it, now just sign off, right? This will never happen in the US. Here it happens.
Okay.
Here you have the business team coming to you like, so I pulled this from our online contract bank. I filled it in. I think it's fine. Can you just sign off so we can get going? And I was like, well, no, that's not really how things function, right?
But I don't really understand why, because you say that there is for example many departments that not work together here, but it's the case in the US.
No, they work together, but it's just that legal in the US is almost looked at as like a higher power.
Okay,
like
okay,
you're
I
very
understand.
much looked up to.
Yeah, okay.
And in France, what I've noticed is that legal is just like a passing by step. As long as legal signs off, you're good. But is legal drafting it? Are they, ensuring everything inside? Of course, this is our job.
Yes.
But the business team, for example, or anybody else within the company, they don't see it as a legal, task. They say, I can do this. Oh, this is actually to my other point. The other funny part is in France, it seems to be very much take on whatever you can take on. If you see there's something needs to be done, just take it. Whether you know or you don't know how, you'll figure it out. Just go for it. In the US, no. This is your job. You're only touching this type of agreement. You're only doing it this certain way. And it's funny to me because I didn't anticipate this at all here.
Okay. I was surprised because my girlfriend is in the legal universe. She wants to pass the bar exam.
Yes.
And when you have your when you passed this exam, you can become an attorney in different different subjects like family, like work law, like business law, etc., etc. And I was surprised about the fact that an attorney is a kind of generalist people. It's also the case in US?
It is.
Okay.
You have, but the end, so the third year of law school,
Okay.
they do law firm programs, internships, and this is usually where you specialize in a sense. It's not, it's really that third full year that you get to decide which law you like and where you want to practice. But you learn the way law school is structured in the US. I'm not sure here. Well, apparently it is the same here. It is very generalized. So you
Exactly.
learn 36 subjects of law,
I think maybe, I don't know. Not sure.
and which is what makes the bar exam, a complete nightmare because you don't know what subjects
Yeah,
of those
you
are
have
showing
common
up.
subjects, common matter, and you
Correct.
can just add some specifics,
Yes.
specialties.
But the bar exam tests even specialties.
Exactly,
So
yeah.
you don't, if it's something like, I don't know, creditors' rights, like if it's a topic you had zero interest in, or maybe you didn't even take, like there was, things on the exam I didn't even study.
Okay.
So, it's one of these things that, you need to know everything. You're expected as a lawyer to be an expert at everything.
Okay.
So this is probably why, you do get treated as you're a lawyer. You should be able to take any case. But, as in anything else in life, if it's not interesting to you, how much attention are you really paying
Yeah,
to
exactly.
it?
Okay, very interesting. And so this is for the system, I think. But what do you think about the cultural differences? I mean, in the the really daily life,
Mhm.
if she talk about communication, for example, can you give me an example of a meeting where you thought, whoa, this will never happen like this in the US? I mean, the behavior of people, for example, when they work together in France, if you have the opportunity to, if you had the opportunity to.
So I think in the US in general, people in the workplace are more to themselves.
Okay.
I think here they're friends, which is it's ironic, right? Because you
Yeah.
think in the US it's the other way around.
That's why I wanted to talk about.
But here very much it's a cliquey atmosphere even at work. So if you don't speak French, you're automatically on the outside of that.
Exactly, yeah.
Because at lunch you spend an hour and a half lunch with your coworkers here.
With coffee.
Every break, I mean, you spend
Entrée,
probably,
plat, dessert.
but c'est ça, you spend maybe 2 hours of your day. And so here the work hours are very long. Maybe start there. Like at Northern Trust, I worked from 8:45, 9 a.m. until 4:45 because then I had my Pilates and my cycling
Yes,
and,
yes,
whatever.
exactly.
But here it's, you start 10, sometimes 10:30, and you're at work until 7:30 or 8 p.m.
Yeah.
So essentially, maybe you start to feel that you're living with these people at work.
Exactly.
And you do have, you have your lunches, you have your breaks, and you spent maybe 2 hours in your group setting. And in the US, you're very much in your cubicle, except for if you're having, a big team meeting. But here, I feel like meetings are very frequent. And you're constantly...
It can be all over the day.
It can. But culturally, the long hours, I was very surprised about. And then, the level of depth in relationships at work, because in the US, things are more surface level, right? In general, everybody's very smiling, happy, but you're not, like, something about, they have 2 kids, whatever. But here it's like everybody's keeping up with everybody's lives. Like it's very, there's this social aspect.
I've noticed, for example, this summer that Canadian people can take the Friday afternoon to just live their life, and they spend more than and equal than 30 minutes per day to take lunch. So I think it's more clever to do that, because you can have a kind of family life after the after your day of work.
In Canada?
And in Canada, yeah. But in France, and I think in Europe in general, but I think especially in France, if you don't pass so many time per day at the office, it's very weird, and
Yes.
it's for people kind of laziness.
Yeah. Yes.
I want to dig deeper into, because time flies.
Yeah.
I want to dig deeper into something. You work at TikTok.
Yeah.
So many people are very curious about that. I think a company that's at the intersection of American innovation, Chinese innovation, because it's a Chinese company, and international regulation. How was it navigating the legal complexities between US and European approaches? You talk a bit about that, but were there moments where you felt the system was speaking completely different languages?
Quite literally.
You know?
Completely different languages. I think it's,
For example, from the AI aspect,
sure.
I'm curious about to understand about how US, for example, in the US race, in the AA race,
Okay.
US choose to just put barrier down and go
Exactly.
fast,
Exactly.
and Europe choose to make some regulation, think about the ethic aspect, etc.
Yes, from this perspective, so GDPR is very prevalent here. Obviously, it's created here in Europe. So this is a standard that is adhered to very strictly in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the clients I was handling, because we were trying to even bring on banking clients.
Okay.
So you can only imagine data privacy that goes into this. And this is a concern that it exists, obviously, like with HIPAA laws in the US. It exists, but I seem to think that in Europe, there's a very strong belief that your personal information is private and it belongs to you. In the US, there is this in the medical fields, but not so much, I think, in tech and, the other areas. The other thing I noticed is that here in Europe, legislation is made before that there is the issue. In the US, it's very much, okay, we have AI now, and now we're having all these, grave, like very huge problems coming about. For example, intellectual property issues, right? Like you're putting information into this chat,
GPT-5.
Yes, this I should be an expert at this one. But you're feeding it this information, and who does this information belong to, especially in a working environment?
Yeah.
Who owns the rights? And it's trade secrets, you're obtaining information that belongs to the company, you're inputting it, but then it's out there. It's out there for everybody, right? It's once it's inputted into these systems, anybody can pull this information. So in the US, they tackle these issues by implementing laws after the fact and not on a national scale. It's state level. In Europe, the problem is almost foreseen, or the second that a technology comes about, the laws are already in action. So I see this big distinction there.
What system is the best one according to you?
I think the European system.
Yeah.
I've been to some legal conferences specifically on data privacy and AI, and it was just interesting to me how they're rationalizing But no, I very much agree with the European way.
Okay, cool. Polina, there are so many interesting subjects here. I'm very frustrated about the time that we have, but let's go move forward a bit. Let's talk about your career building and especially your consulting bureau, no? Consulting company. How did you build your professional network and credibility in a system that wasn't yours? This is the first question.
Okay.
The second question is, for example, when you have US customer and European customer or French customer, how was it navigating the legal complexities, for example, between US and European approaches? But also, there is a kind of code switching. There is a kind of behavior approach to adapt when it's a US customer and when it's a French customer.
Okay.
This is the second question, if you understand.
Let's see, where do we begin? In terms of building credibility, I think I was lucky enough to work at 2 top tech companies here in France.
Okay.
So this already played into it quite a bit. After that, I became very involved in the American Club, for example, Americans in Paris.
Mm-hmm.
I became involved in the International Association of Privacy Professionals. I think joining, there's some other, the France Médic. I think being a part of different associations, furthering your knowledge, your legal knowledge, kind of a continued legal education. You go to all these events, you attend these conferences, you naturally meet people. I'm very social. I love being out. I love learning new things from anybody I can learn from. So I think this helped me a lot. I built to be honest, I have a larger network here in France and, remove COVID, right? So from just the past 3 years, I have built a larger network professionally and socially than I ever had in the US. And I think it is because of when you're in France and in Europe in general, I think when people see you being authentic, they're drawn to this and they're open to this.
Exactly.
And then they accept you and then they trust you. So building this trust is, I think, a very key component here, especially in what I do.
Because we can also think about the friendly behavior that American guy have. I was surprised about, for example, when I arrived in the office in Canada, everybody was like, "Oh, cool, French guy here. How are you?" There is a kind of friendly environment that is created, I think, easier in US, North American at all. And in Europe, it's, I think, according to my knowledge, to my experience, it's more cold at the first impression.
Yes.
But I agree with you about the fact that the trust is easier to fuel here. And I have another question about more personal aspect. Beyond the professional challenges, there is the human experience, like we said before. What were your biggest moment of doubt or loneliness in France?
Definitely, I would have to say while I was married, so the first 5 years.
Okay.
Because I wasn't being authentically me. I wasn't pursuing my career in the same way that I had in the US. I had kind of lost the motivation, thinking that I could never find myself again. in this foreign country.
What do you say by that? Find yourself again.
I think here, when I arrived, I had envisioned an easier life. I thought things would fall into place. They did not. And being kind of, isolated, I use this word again, but
Yeah.
I lost contact. I lost motivation. I forgot what I liked. I forgot what my hobbies were. I was alone, completely alone. And you don't, when you're in, it's a depressive state in a sense. And you don't realize that you have forgotten who you are.
Okay.
Until you start seeing the light and, like everything kind of, it was a tower moment for me. And then I started to piece by piece put my life together. And I became the most social and the most fun-loving and the most successful after that moment.
Don't you think that it is a part of the American identity that you have? This kind of social aspect, etc.
I think so.
And my question is, right now, how do you maintain your American identity and what you are while integrating into the French society?
I mean, I lived most of my life in the US, so it's, it's something that won't, it's in you. You don't know what it is. You feel it's different. You sense yourself different.
Okay.
I think it's being open. I think Americans are very good at attending events where they don't know anybody and making friends. They're very good at just, smiling at everybody.
Yeah.
This is the typical thing. And I have that American in me, and I like to go to galas, to charity events. It's also in the American culture to be charitable, to help people. And I think this character of the American culture very much stuck with me.
Okay.
And it's helping me so much now. Okay. And I'm coming back to it, and I'm rediscovering who I am, and that, I love being social and I love having networks. And
cool. Okay, cool. So you've been in France for 6.5 years. You've built a career, a life, navigated all these challenges. Congratulations again for that.
Thank you.
And let's talk about the person you want to become in the future. I mean, for example, there is something I think about a lot of someone who also navigates different personal and cultural worlds. It was the case of my grandfather, because so he's dead right now, but he was from Morocco.
Okay.
So I'm a part of Morocco and a part of France, and also a little part of Italy.
Oh.
Do you think moving abroad attracts certain personality things, or does the experience create them? Like were you always someone who could do this? And did France makes you into this person?
In my opinion, you need a certain character to be brave enough to take that first step. You get, to the foreign lands, and a lot of people go back home. And I think this is where you see, is this within you or is it not? So there is part that if you have, the fighting spirit, the explore adventure in you, then you've consciously made the decision to stay. Because the first couple of years, I sense, I think it's the third year statistically that most people return.
Yeah.
If you make it past the third year, it means that it is something that's within you. And you are the type of person who can overcome these challenges, who can adapt, and who can prosper. And then you are changed. You are changed a lot, but it's one of those philosophical questions, I think, because what comes first, right? Is it the move that, changed you and kind of forced you out of your bubble and then you discover this? But it is actually within you this whole time. It's just maybe exaggerated by being in this different environment. And I think this is what happened to me. I think I was very comfortable in the US. I thought that that's who I am. And then coming here, I realized I was comfortable but superficial.
Yeah.
And what matters most? Your comfort, that you can be in your huge SUV with your Louis Vuitton bag, driving with your matcha to Pilates, and this was my life, right? It's very typical, and it's funny. And you have a chance to reinvent yourself. So there is parts that's within you, and then coming to a new country pushes something else out of you, and you become more authentically you. I think this is what I'm having a hard time explaining, because it's something you really have to feel and go through to understand that you are lost, but then you are found. You quite literally find yourself, because there's qualities within you never knew you had until you're put in a position that they need to come out.
Oh, thank you for your words, because it's very important to just take the time to explain your background, and I think many people will be very interesting about that, and it is very important to have this discussion right now. Thank you again to be here.
Thank you, Elliot. Not amazing.
I've wrote a question that I love. If you could go back and give one piece of advice to your pre-move self,
okay,
to the little Polina, or the 10 years less Polina, standing at the airport about to leave the US, what would it be?
Don't be afraid. Keep going. I think the number one hardest thing to do is push through when it's so hard and you don't see the path in front of you. But the path appears. The moment you start taking those steps, the fear dissipates slowly like the fog, and you'll make it. You'll make it. Once you put something in your mind, whether it's a known goal or just having this faith in yourself that you will succeed, it will come to you.
Okay. And looking ahead, do you see yourself in France long term?
I do. I love it here. The circle I have built here, the community I have built here, it's like from a dream. Like, it's a dream life. I am fulfilled on so many levels and in ways that I don't think possible in the US.
Okay, thank you. I have another question about your firm, Tambourov International Legal Consulting. How do you think it's different, because you built it in France, but if you've done that in the US, do you think it will be the same? It was the same. It was the same.
So Tambourov International Consulting. So this is the kind of parent company, and then I have Paris Lease Check, which is the more specialized.
Okay.
So I honestly believe that when you put yourself in the right environment, the outcome is matched. So I think that in the US, it would have succeeded, because I would have continued doing the things I'm doing now, making the efforts.
Exactly, yeah.
And I'm seeing here that it's the same. It's, word of mouth, making contacts, gaining people's trust in you, and being good at what you do and doing it from the heart. So I think in both scenarios, if this is what you're meant to do, and this is it's in your heart that this is what you want to follow, and this is your dream, I think honestly, in both situations, you would be successful.
Okay. So what I take away from this conversation is that moving abroad is not just about changing your address,
right,
or learning a new language. because it's not very easy in France at all. It's about being willing to question everything you thought you knew.
Mm-hmm.
It's about work. It's about yourself. It's about your identity. It's about success, a different kind of success, I think.
Yes.
And maybe that discomfort that you have, that constant navigation between words and challenges is where we actually grow the most. And I think I believe in this life lesson, because if you encountered all of these challenges, if you were married with a French guy, all of that.
This was a big challenge in
itself.
Yeah,
but I think all of that is in a kind of, I believe in the destiny, in the,
I agree.
Everybody have his own book.
Yes.
And I believe in this theory. If you want to learn more about Polina and her work at the Paris list, check, and also for people interested about legal Tambourov legal consulting. We'll put all the links below in the description. And if you ever lived abroad, if you're thinking about it, I'd love to hear your story. And if you have people interesting about join Casque, reach out on Instagram at Casque. It was the first episode in English, I think, we do great. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Polina. Do you have a last word?
Just really don't give up when you put your mind to something, no matter what the hurdle appears to be in front of you. Just keep going.
Thank you very much. I'm Ali, and this was Casque.